Michael Jordan is not only the best basketball player, but he's the most exciting basketball player to ever play.
Tatum fires away, pumps it in, 51 for Jason Tatum.
The Big Three NBA podcast is powered by Prize Picks and the Game Time app.
I think he's just trying to get himself back together in terms of like, okay, this is my role, this is what they need me to do, and this is how we're going to win. And I just think we all have to understand that this year's team is not last year's team. It is hard to repeat. It is hard. I mean, I was listening to even like baseball on this morning on LA Talk Radio, and they were talking about the Dodgers repeating, and they were talking about how hard it is to repeat, how hard it is to have that comeback season and do everything you did before. Even though you did it once, doesn't mean you can necessarily do it again. And I think we're finding out that this Celtics team is going to have its ups and downs. They're still the third best team in the NBA, third best record. So all is not lost. They can still win a championship, but it's not going to be easy. And I think it's not going to be easy for Jason. It's not going to be easy for Jaylen. And I think Jaylen's just, remember, he's a month removed from having his house broken into. He's got to worry about his family, especially when he's on the road. I mean, he's got to worry about, and I'm sure his family's safe and secure. I'm sure he's taking all care of all the business he needs to take care of, but that's still a very unsettling feeling, knowing that somebody tried to literally break into your home and your personal domain. And, I don't know if there's any arrests. They might have gotten away. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't get in, but that's got to be very mentally impacting for him. So I think we got to give him grace in terms of like what he's going through, because that's a terrible experience to go through. But I just think he's trying to get himself right in terms of not only I got to get myself mentally right, I've got to learn how to adjust, because this is not last year. Things aren't going to be easier. The integration of Porzingis hasn't been easy. Other guys aren't playing all that well. So I just think everybody's kind of still adjusting right now, even though we're halfway through the season.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Gary for the most part. But the one thing I would say that's a little bit different for Jaylen is that I would say of their core guys, no one is being asked to adjust more than he is. He's the one guy that has a clear and undeniable elite skill, which is his ability to score. And that's the one thing that they don't necessarily need him to be elite all the time in. They need him to become an elite defender. They need him to become a guy who can defend multiple positions and give them that presence, that physicality. And I think the way that the NBA is calling, the way referees are calling the game now, that memo that basically says you can be a little bit more physical, it's going to allow Jaylen Brown to be a much more impactful player without having to score more points, because now he can rough guys up a little bit more than he used to and not worry as much about getting in foul trouble and things like that. I don't think it's a coincidence that his scoring has taken a little bit of a dip of sorts, even though his physicality from a defensive standpoint has picked up and has ratcheted up. And I think he's trying to find a happy medium. Jaylen is a guy that can go out there and average 25, 27, 28 points a game if he wanted to. But I think the best version of Jaylen is probably going to be closer to 20, playing really good defense, causing problems at that end of the floor, and using that good defense to generate easy buckets on offense. Jaylen is he's one of the few guys that has the ability to not only get into the passing lane and cause deflections and pick guys' pockets, but he can then take the ball and go inline to inline and score and finish and draw contact if it comes to that. They don't have a lot of guys who can do that. And so him putting himself in position to do those things, I think, was going to make him and the Celtics better. But there's a part of him, and I totally understand this, where he's thinking like, but damn, I can go out and get 25 points and not have to defend like this. Why am I the one that's being tasked with being this elite defender? And the reason is very simple, because Jaylen is probably the most athletic player on the team. He's probably the one guy who's physically built well enough to withstand playing at an elite level at both ends of the floor. When you look at the way he's put together physically, you can't tell me there aren't like little smidges of Kawhi Leonard when you see him from a physical standpoint. Both about the same height, similar build. Kawhi is just, with the claws and the hand and all that other stuff. But Jaylen is a very, very good player, and he's trying to figure out how to be a great teammate. And that's an easier thing to talk about than do. But I give him credit, though. I mean, you feel as though the effort is there. It's just hasn't quite looked as well as he would want it to look or the Celtics would want it to look. But it's not about him wanting to do it. It's just a matter of just getting the reps in and making it happen over and over and over again.